I found a really excellent example that of one of those things that we talk about often on this channel, and that's people who remember the hits and forget the misses. I think that this is a great illustration of how this happens. Also, I want to stress the importance of not relying on your memory, but to actually get a recording of every reading you do, if it's video or if it's just something you've captured on your phone. It's if you're trying to rely on your memory, especially as time passes, you're going to find that what you remember and what actually happened are a lot of times completely different, especially since there's so much wordplay where the psychic says something that seems like they had a hit, but actually it was the way they worded it where you are the one that is making the hit. So this is a great example. It's James Randi from 1991. He had a program. It's a little hokey. Yeah, it's a lot dated. And it's from a TV program that he had. He used to do like little bits of different psychic things or magic, or he would have dowsers or people who read auras and all kinds of things, but they're very quick little clips. He doesn't have time to go into great depth with it. And it's done in front of a live studio audience, which just makes it more awkward and dated. He brings different people into the audience to sit down throughout the event. And anyway, you'll see. So to set this up, the show was called James Randi, Psychic Investigator. And he has this medium on. Her name is Maureen Flynn. And she gives a cold reading to somebody in the audience. And then what happens is Randi will talk about how frequent, what the woman said was so generic. And then he has the studio audience rate how whatever she said would have applied to them also. It's kind of cute. I'm not going to show that part right now, but I will put a link to this entire video into the description of this YouTube video. Okay, so let's start. This is James Randi, who's a friend of ours, a great mentor of all of us, and just learn from him. Amazing man.
Do people remember accurately what takes place in a reading? Well, we have with us tonight Mr. Rod Beal. Mr. Beal, you're a satisfied client of Maureen's, I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah.
She did a reading for you not too long ago, which I understand you think is a very good reading.
Yes, she did.
A few simple questions, if I may. First of all, how long did the thing last, first of all, the reading?
About half an hour.
About half an hour. How many names, pardon me, did she give you during that period of half an hour?
Probably half a dozen.
About half a dozen. And did they all hit?
Not everyone.
How many
but
did
they
would
had
you
a
say
similar
hit?
sounding, like Doreen, Maureen, that type of thing.
Well, you were kind enough to give us a tape recording of that reading done by Maureen Flynn for you. And for your information, during your reading, Maureen Flynn tried these names, and they are on the tape of the reading that you're referring to. Alan, Alfred, Alice, Anne, Bill, Charlie, Colin, Connie, David, Derek, Eileen, Ellen, Flory, Frank, Fred, George, Jim, Joe, John, Karen, Catherine, Kevin, Lillian, Lisa, Liz, Lynn, Mark, Mary, May, Michael, Rob, Ron, Shirley, Sydney, Stanley, Sid, and Steve. That's 37 names, and she also asked you if you could connect with any name beginning with an N or an L, and you could not do so. Now, in the ones that were accepted, and you did accept 9 of the 37 that were given, these were some of the categories: a son, a lodger, a brother, a nephew, an adopted nephew, a grandfather, a fellow worker, a cousin, and the neighbor's dog. Now,
That's right out of context.
I'm sorry?
Right out of context.
We have a
Copy of it.
transcript of it right here, sir, and you may have that transcript to refer to it, and the names, I think, are outlined there, all 37 of them.
You can analyze anything. You can analyze Encyclopedia Britannica. Mr. Beal is here because he felt that what he actually got on that tape made sense to him, very much so.
That was quite interesting. So what you're seeing here is not only did the man forget the misses and remember the hits, he said there were just six times that she mentioned a name, when actually it was 37. That's quite interesting. And he says, oh, but they were all like names that kind of rhymed with each other. Well, when Randy read off that list, we found out that they weren't all just names that rhymed with each other. And if you noticed how common those names were, Anne, Mary, James, John, oh my goodness. And then some name that started with an L, started with a N, and the oddest thing was that he didn't find something to relate to it. But anyway, do you see how the psychic was on stage just getting madder and madder and madder? The other thing that was fascinating is that the man did connect, using that word loosely, to 9 different people, including the neighbor's dog. I mean, it was really reaching. In other words, she was shotgunning, and she probably did it pretty fast. And he's trying to make sense of it all whenever he's getting the reading. Okay, now one of the things I really do, from person to person, human being to human being, I know this is a TV show, and it was before its time. I mean, James Randi was an amazing person. He was the amazing Randi. And he has to get this all done in like a really small amount of time. It's a TV show, so they want confrontation. It's awkward. He's got this guy in the audience who says that he believed that he got a great reading from it and he was satisfied. And here is Randi just dressing him down with the facts and then throwing the paper at him. And it just looks really bad. It's cringy, right? And so I think that we need to be respectful how we have these conversations with people, because telling them, making them look stupid, like, we know better than him, is not the best way of having a respectful conversation with somebody. If somebody's going to tell you, if it's somebody that you want to be able to have more conversations with, and some of them difficult conversations, then it's probably best to approach it as, we're learning this together. Isn't this fascinating how our brains work and how we didn't, this is common, and how people remember things that hit and it's coming at you so fast, but we forget all these other misses. It isn't that interesting. I knew you'd figure it out because, you got this. If you approach it that way, then you're going to have less resistance, and the person is going to feel empowered to be able to help figure out the next time some situation like this happens. It might not be a psychic medium, but it could be another situation where they're about to be conned. So it's important that we try to approach it as a learning project and as equals, and not with somebody, standing over them and saying, you're an idiot. Why did you believe this? How stupid of you. Look, here's the transcript. So although I absolutely adore James Randi, and I think he's done amazing work, and we would not be here. I certainly would not be doing what I'm doing if it was not for James Randi. I just think in the context of this show, it's kind of cringy and it doesn't come off. Maybe it came out great for the show, but for us, talking to each other, I don't think it's a great example, except I think it's a great example of how it's done wrong. So this talks a lot. What I'm trying to say is, this is a great example of why you need to be able to get when you get a reading, to get the audio or video of it. You really have to look at those words. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please subscribe, please like, please leave me comments. I do my best to respond to everything I possibly can.